Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's time for the Good Bid podcast. It's another episode, and we are here for episode. What episode is this? Number 14 or 15 of the brand new season. Can you believe it? My name is Chris. I'm joined by Aaron, as always. And this week is about Natural Born Killers. It's a very interesting film, and I'll tell you who is not a natural born killer, but who is indeed a natural born podcaster, a natural born friend, and a natural born Aaron, and that is Aaron D, my co-host. How are you today, Aaron? How natural were you born?
I was born so naturally. There was no
Wait.
knives involved, no water, no baths, no painkillers. No, I think there was painkillers.
Wow.
No. I don't know. I wasn't. I was there.
How would
but
you
I
remember?
wasn't.
How would you remember?
I was there, but I wasn't there. You know,
I know
everyone
what you mean.
knows. Can anyone?
I
Can
know what you
anyone
mean.
remember their own birth? I don't think they can.
I can.
No, you can't.
It was a sunny day. You're a little quiet. Can you turn yourself up at all? Or are you good?
I could turn myself up. How about we do it right now? I'll turn myself up. There we go. How about that? I've turned it way up now.
That's fine. Anyway, I was asking, how are you?
I'm natural. That's what you're asking. Yes.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
fine. It's busy. Tell you what, it's a different experience doing this podcast. We're down in London. It's tough to sit down and watch a film when you're
Aye.
in a small flat, and it's tough to fucking get the office, bag the office. Well, not the office, the
Yeah.
spare room, so you can actually record. But I'm here. I'm doing
Do
it.
you
And
need
it's
to book
okay.
in? Do you need to book in for the office?
You know what? Sometimes I feel like that, but I managed to bag it. So I'm here. I'm not on the floor like I was with Andrew Marley, embarrassingly.
Yes.
I didn't.
Our
didn't
most
wanna-
listened to episode.
I know it's still.
Still,
Even
maybe we should get to the point where getting Andrew Marley on all the time, and you should sit on the floor all the time, and then we'd have all the listeners.
yeah, and we should do Tom Hanks films because everyone loves Tom Hanks.
Everybody loves Tom Hanks. Did you see his relatively new one, News of the World?
No, is it on something?
It's on the Netflix, and it is fine. It's a very, very,
Oh,
very,
that's
very fine.
A raving
Hanks film.
review from Chris Moffat. It's fine. Do you mean that as in
What do you mean?
it's fine, or do you mean it's fine?
It's fine. Yeah, like I watched it and I went, no, I'm glad I watched that. Not going back to it anytime soon. But it was good. Tom Hanks, typical Tom Hanks. He's like, it's back in the olden days. I don't know the time period. And he goes about from town to town on a horse and cart and reads the news to people. And he picks up like a little girl who has lost their parents, and he's taking her back to her family, wherever she's from.
That does sound
Wholesome.
fine. That does sound fine.
Definitely one of those films that will be on a Sunday afternoon ITV4 in 3 years.
That is our raving review. Continuing,
Yeah.
well, you know, kitchen table, I assume.
Kitchen table all day. You say it's a raving review because I'm usually like really positive and stuff and really optimistic, or is it just because like it's the standard answer for fine?
No. I'd say it's because you're normally, if you liked a film, you'd say no, it's really good. But I reckon if you weren't really that enthused by a film, you'd say no, it's fine, rather than say I was bored by it, which is probably something I'd say. You'd say
Right.
it's fine. So
I'd never say I was bored by a film unless I was really bored, really bored.
yeah,
Then I would
yeah.
say it because it needs to be said.
no, I get you. You're not a harsh.
but
You're
if
not a
it's-
harsh critic.
I'm not at all. I love that. I mean, you're a tennis critic, and you're very fair.
Well, I'm very fair.
I would love to be a film critic. I guess everyone's a film critic, especially when you've got a movie podcast. But professionally, dream job right there.
We can't really be film critics at this stage because I do wonder. I'm like, if I book some sort of acting job that's going to put me into
Right.
any sort of public eye, I'm going to have to see Chris. We're going to have to sit down and listen back to everything I've said on this podcast because I will have offended this director, not like this film, and said that this actor's pish in this movie, and we can't have
Right.
that, can we?
You say something to about someone, and then you realise you get a part with them next
Yeah,
month, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't mean what I said."
Yeah. I find
Speaking of acting, sorry, carry on, please.
No. So, well, I like we talked about last time with like actor doing the rounds on interviews before films. Like, it must be annoying. Like, they can't say anything negative about anything on these press tours. They have to love and be positively enthused about everything and everyone because they can't piss anyone off. And It's a shame.
That used to be a thing. Like
should
the
be free.
Disney cast kind of like used to talk about. They used to be in their contracts if they were on a Disney show or movie that they can't say anything negative about anything, like
Yeah.
a country, a city, a company. And then like people would ask them, like for example, the Jonas Brothers or whatever, they'd ask them like really negative questions. Like, what's the worst part about working for Disney? And they just need to say things like, "Oh, Disney's a really big organization, but it really brings me together. The fact there's so many people involved, and it's really rewarding, even though it brings
Oh,
its challenges."
that
And
is
you're like,
hideous.
"Whoa, where did that come from?"
Oh no, that's so cynical. Oh, I hate that. Oh, listen. Oh.
So we talked about that last week. We talked about like actors saying bad things in the press and doing all this press for their movies and to promote their stuff and that. And then we talked about social media. And I was heavily considering making a return to the social media. And I say that because I hadn't posted anything, sorry, since Halloween 2019. And I was like, maybe I'm going to make my return. I like the idea of social media because it might be a good way to promote yourself and sell yourself. But then again, I was kind of against the whole like, look how great I am. I've been to the pyramids in Egypt. That's what we were saying. Look how
Yep.
great I am, and you're not.
Yeah.
I bit the bullet this week, and I posted something.
Did you?
Yeah,
Did it-
which
I
is
didn't-
also going to lead us on to my next topic. But yeah, I posted something on my main Instagram. I've been posting on the Good Bit Instagram and the CM42 TV Instagram and stuff, but this is my main one, which none of the listeners will know unless you're a close friend. I do not want you in my life. And I posted an actual picture.
Oh, so
Yes,
you did. I
and-
did see this. Yes.
And it was nice because what did I say last week? Like, I like the likes coming in. I like people reacting to it. And I got all those things and then some. I'm now back on Instagram.
You're hooked. You're back in.
And I did a couple. I was out for drinks yesterday with Ewan, alumni.
I saw that as well.
Of the podcast, Ladies Man Ewan, or Diabeethoven, as he used to be known as on the podcast back last season, which was old news. And we went for a nice Nando's, and then went for a nice drink because in this country anyway, the only thing that's open for alcoholic beverages is beer gardens and bars that have outside seating. So it was lovely, a lovely, nice catch up with Ewan.
Oh,
and, we
you went
posted
for
wee things on
Nando's and a cheeky
Nando's and
wee
drinks,
drink
yes.
with you, and I wish I was there. That sounds stunning.
We did get a couple of people texting saying thanks for the invite, boys, but listen, you weren't invited, so
Oh no, no, I'm not all about that sort of culture.
Me neither.
What's the deal with that? Why can't you see anyone without anyone going, "We make me"? It's like,
why can't me and you go for a meal without having to
No.
ask everybody we went to college with? Not for
absolutely
me.
not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that sounds stupendous.
It was. I
Yeah.
can confirm it was. And then like he took a picture of me, put it on his Instagram. I like reposted it on my story. Like I'm now all out on the socials.
On the sauce.
And it's an experiment. After the conversation we had last week, I want to see how it goes, how consistent I keep it up, and how much I get from it.
Listen, it's okay. I take it you say I'm back on socials. You have been consuming
Right.
social
Oh yeah.
media, but
Yeah.
it's just about you posting. Yeah, no, I get that. I'm in the exact same headspace, although I just sort of sporadically put something up, and I don't know, I just dip your toe in. It's
There's
a healthy
something about,
approach.
like-
It's a healthy approach.
Yeah, it is a healthy approach. There's something about the privacy of it too. Like, so, me with all my videos and stuff on YouTube and my vlogs with my family and stuff, I never tend to post them because there's something about keeping that stuff private, keeping my life personal. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as if I'm really getting anything to hide, but like, there's something nice about not posting videos of my 5-year-old cousin doing backflips on my trampoline on YouTube.
No, I know. Yeah.
You get me?
It's a balance. Yeah, it's the same thing with Instagram. Although I always think like, when I go back through my Instagram, it is so clear. It looks like I'm living this tremendous multicultural, filtered life that is just.
Yeah.
I'm so happy all the time. If you look at my Instagram time, it's like, if this is my year. That's
Yeah,
just gone
I'm
past.
doing a show. I'm
What
on
a time.
holiday. I'm out a walk. I've got drinks. Like, you're
And I
doing lots of things.
I look at that and I'm going, that's disingenuous. I don't like that. Don't know why. But you shouldn't overthink it. I shouldn't overthink it. It's just
Yeah, and
do it.
I had a conversation with my sister about this, and she was like, "Don't worry about what other people think and how your social media looks. Like, if you want to post something to document it for yourself, then just do it. It's your page." You know, and she's
No,
right.
yeah. Are you? Is it a private Instagram?
No,
That's fine. I'm just asking. That's fine. Mine isn't. You
No,
got
it's
worried
not.
there. You're like, no.
No, maybe it should be. I don't know, man. We're getting far too deep in this. It's just an experiment. I'm seeing how it goes. I'm still trying to figure it out. That's all. Speaking of figuring it out, there's a song called "Figure It Out" by the band Royal Blood. Do you know Royal Blood?
No.
Right. Well, I got tickets to go see them this morning.
I thought you were saying I got tickets to go see him. I was going to invite you, but since you don't know him,
You can come if you want, but you've not heard of them. So
no,
they're a
no,
British
that's fine.
band. Kind of like rock, kind of fast rock. Good tunes. You should probably know a couple of the tunes if you heard them. They're not huge, but yeah. I booked my first concert back after COVID the other day, and it's McFly.
Oh, when is
You know
that?
McFly?
Yeah, I know McFly. When
September
is?
the late September in Glasgow.
Gosh,
Um,
that'll be weird.
so
if it
that's
happens.
very soon. That's very soon. And the person that I was thinking about going to the concert with, I had to text and I had to be like, right, how comfortable do you think you're going to be in a matter of months going to a concert? And they were like, oh, I'm not sure. Like, probably really anxious, not willing to pay that money. And I was like, I feel exactly the same. But it's McFly, and that's like a dream gig, and it's like childhood things. And we're like, do you know what? We're going to bite the bullet. Listen, if it gets postponed or whatever, or cancelled, fine. Or if we don't feel comfortable at the time, we can just resell the tickets. Absolutely. But it's nice to know that they're on sale and they're hopeful that concerts can go ahead soon.
Will your anxiety be based on I don't want to catch COVID, or will it be about social sort of I'm around so many people and I've been alone in my room for a year and a half?
A bit of both. Lesser,
Yeah.
to the lesser extent, the COVID thing.
Okay. Okay.
Because I feel like we are going in a good direction, touch wood, and I'm sure by that point we'll all be vaccinated and stuff,
Yeah.
And again, safety precautions and stuff, it wouldn't be put on, it wouldn't be going ahead unless it was safe. Yeah. But the social thing, it's not so bad because I've got a seat for McFly, but the Royal Blood concert, which is next April, is standing.
Oh, that's a
And I
different
don't-
kettle
I
of
don't-
fish.
I don't do well with standing. My back and my knees and legs get sore. I'm only 23.
Oh, Jim, do you not do well with standing?
No. Maybe it's because I'm really tall, but like I just even wrestling shows, concerts, nights out. If I'm standing
Just
for
standing
long,
about.
standing about, man.
Many a night
Yeah.
has been cut short by Chris coming to me and going, Aaron, I'm standing about. We're getting a taxi. We're calling my guy. I'm going up the road. Are you coming? No.
Because we were going to do a podcast the day after. You were staying at my house.
Yeah.
I had one of the worst days.
You
And I was
were
like,
not.
I am going up the road.
You were in a foul mood. I respect that. But I was flying
Well,
high. I
listen,
don't know why.
You are having a good time. Listen, it's rare that Chris Moffat goes in a bad mood, so you should have enjoyed it when you had it.
It's true. It's true.
So
What
yeah,
was I going to
so
say
I posted. Go on.
Sorry, with standing, the weird thing I find with standing is gigs. I stand all day long. Prefer to stand. Don't think about it twice. Dancing, I suppose,
Really?
moving about.
Yeah.
Of course, when gigs happened, I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
standing at the theatre. Now listen, because the Globe in London, the Shakespeare's Globe, it's £5 if you want to stand. And so I've done that a few times, and it's a nightmare. I cannot stand for 2 and a bit hours just standing watching Shakespeare. The last time I went was to see Othello with Mark Rylance in one of the leads, and
That's right.
Mark Rylance, and we left after the first half because we were all like, "Fucking hell, I
in
can't."
pain. I went to see a play directed by Gregor Duncan that was all standing, and I had to sit down. I sat on part of the set.
It's a joke. I don't know what it is. I cannot just stand and watch theatre. It's not.
Have you ever been in a play that involves a standing audience?
No, I wouldn't do that to my audience because they're my audience.
Yeah, good shout. I wish I had that option. I did Romeo and Juliet in 2017 in Cumberland Old Theatre.
Did you do the punch drunk sort of version?
Aye, that kind of version.
That's walking about though.
Yeah, it's just walking about. And it was walking about in different rooms and different things, so it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad. But listen, if it was punch drunk, then it would have been brilliant because there's lights and there's sometimes pyro and lasers and stuff in Punch Drunk. But this one was a little bit lesser budget. And I was playing. Who was I playing? Friar Lawrence.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, even as us actors, it was a bit of a nightmare. And I knew when people were walking through the theatre, there was like an immersive theatre thing, which changed the whole Cumbernauld Theatre into the world of Romeo and Juliet, which was really cool. Again, with a lesser budget. And I knew people were miserable. You know what I mean? And I was like, I feel
Oh
bad for you.
no, really? I do have memories of the long run at Hull Truck before the pandemic.
Yeah,
Of
the Panto run.
yeah, just the front few rows. I mean, especially the front row is like at certain points you're right on us, and we can they're on our level almost because the stage comes down. It's
Mhm.
not a traditional what do you call it, arch. Oh god, it's not one of them. It's not one of them.
Right.
And you can see them, and when someone is nodding off and or shaking their head with their arms crossed, I can't help but
Aye.
sort of, I know, it's on my mind.
Especially with a Panto, where you're like trying to entertain the whole time.
Let that be a lesson to use all audience members who are not listening. I can tell. If you sit in the front row and you cross your arms and scowl and actively look bored, we can see you. And
The
we hate
actors
you.
know, and it will affect the rest of the show.
If you hate us, we hate you too. So get out. It's like a restaurant. I've been watching Kitchen, what do you call it? Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, me too. Oh, well, I have been for a while now.
Right, when a customer goes up to the pass and is like,
Oh,
"Where's my food?"
brilliant.
And Gordon Ramsay, "Hey, you, big boy, fuck off.
You can cook, big boy.
You can kick big boy. You're a donkey, okay? Now." No, like I feel the same way. I'm like, if that chef can treat his
Oh.
customers when they're complaining, actors, if you've got, God, especially if you go out backstage, if you've got an audience member come up to you and go, "I didn't like that," not that it ever happens, but if that did happen, I would reserve the right to go, "Fuck off, you, get out, get out."
Yeah. JP, open Hell's Kitchen, please.
Open the theater, please.
Open the Panto, please. Yeah. Oh, God. You going to do Panto this year?
No.
Panto will be back. I mean, Panto 2020 was all recorded and stuff, and it's just, oh, God. A Panto is literally theatre that is how what am I trying to say here?
Go on,
Without
say
an
it.
audience, yeah, without an audience, there is no Panto.
No, there was a
You get
few
me?
Zoom pantos kicking about,
Yeah.
and I dipped in on a Zoom panto that was occurring in my house. I won't say who was making it because, always available.
They might be
guys.
listening.
Always available. But yeah, it kind of sucked the soul out of my body in a way that nothing else ever has. Yeah, panto needs an audience. It needs a live audience, and it needs to be. Honestly, it needs to be packed theatre, because anything less, especially if it's like sort of 10:30 a.m., which a lot of these pantos do, you're looking at a
Yes.
bad time for everyone involved.
School kids can't be bothered
oh.
being there. Yeah.
Actually, there was a group, I don't know where they were from, that came into Hull, and it was essentially they all had Tourette's, and it was one of the best
Right.
performances of my life.
I did a road safety show for an audience with special needs and Tourette's, and that was a good one.
It's brilliant.
That's the thing. It's full of excitement and like enthusiasm. It's brilliant.
No, honestly, the stage manager came to tell us before the show, like it was some sort of tragic event that was happening. No, okay, guys,
Right.
just to let you know that there's a Tourette's group in tonight, so just let it happen. And we were all like, no, we've been doing this show for fucking a month and a half now. Give us that. I can't wait for an
Twice a
audience
day.
to just give us something. And boy,
Yep.
did they. Yeah, love that.
That's great. That's great. Just quickly before we move on to the film,
Oh,
and
God.
said that I posted on the Instagram, my Instagram,
All right.
about my first acting job back as an actor post COVID.
There you go.
It was a real acting job. I was like, I'm here. Like, what's happening?
I've made it.
It was good. I had to get COVID tested, and which was lovely because everyone was COVID tested. So I knew everybody was negative.
That's
so
a
you
lovely.
didn't need to, no masks, no distancing. Like you could act with people.
That was a lovely
We
feeling.
were standing in the break outside the coffee shop with a coffee, talking to each other. Like, oh, first time in ages it's happened without having to worry that I'm going to be infecting my family when I go home.
That's
You
a
know what I
lovely
mean?
feeling. Yeah.
It was lovely, and the shoot was smooth. It was a music video, went very smoothly. Everybody was so nice.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean by that? Like you go to these shoots and there's always a couple of people that are like, "Oh, you're rushing me," or "Really, there's need to be this or there's need to be that."
Yeah.
Everybody was so lovely, and it just made such a difference. And I was like, "Yes, I'll come back."
I'll do this again. I'll keep doing this. That's good. You know, it's a weird thing. I had a similar experience. It was just with my friend, and we were both doing this workshop thing where we had to get tested. And suddenly we found ourselves, having just gone to get tested. And I know it can be false positive and things can
Right, right.
happen, but come on. We were both tested negative, and then we were both sort of we walked out on the street together after doing it, and we were like, "What? Would you look at this?" We didn't immediately, make out with each other, but it was just a nice feeling to know that there was a layer of worry was taken off. I know anything can happen in
Absolutely.
these days, but it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, well, listen, if you get a negative result back, you're not going, "I'll just in case." Like, no, that's your proof.
Yeah, it's
You know
proof.
what I mean?
It's you can relax at least, somewhat. It's a nice feeling. Yeah, I agree.
It is a nice feeling. All right. Well, hopefully, when you get back into the acting world, and when I continue, I guess I've just did one music video. I'm getting ahead of myself. But once things keep picking up and stuff, we're going to get back on track to normality, into life. These wee things keep happening this year. That's like a next wee step and a next wee step, and it's like, for example, going for dinner with you and yesterday, and then having a drink, and then doing the music video, and then seeing crowds back at sporting events and things like that. Like wee things here and there, booking tickets for concerts, wee things like that. It's like, yes, it is happening, and I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing to come see you because you might be in a different flat next time I come visit. And
Most likely.
man, yeah, looking forward to it.
It could be nice.
I'm looking forward to
We'll
it.
have
Yeah.
we'll do that. We should get that in the diary soon so we can look forward to it.
Yeah, even just like say, all right, within these 2 weeks, like at some point within these 2 weeks, I'll come down for a
Yeah.
couple of days.
Do it.
Yeah, around my birthday time because it's nice and
It'll be nice.
I'll be open.
We'll do a week.
All right.
We'll do a weekend.
I love it. All right, well, I'll tell you what did not take a weekend to make, and that was Natural Born Killers. And I have no idea why I picked this film
I don't know why you did either.
because it was on my list for a long, long time. I guess that's the reason. I had a friend who loved this film when I was at school. Always used to ask me if I'd seen it yet. I kept saying no. And my word, I watched this film. Did you watch this film?
That's a good question and a valid question that you should ask me. And the answer to that is not as simple as you might assume. The answer is not, yes, I did. And the answer is not, no, I didn't. Let me clarify.
All right.
I watched this film and was immediately appalled by what I was watching. And
Immediately, that's interesting.
yeah, and was waiting for it to actually start, and for this bizarre sort of Tate Modern music video pish to stop. But after around 40 sort of nauseating minutes, I took the executive decision to, I'm sorry to say, pull the plug and turn this film off because
Really?
it made me feel sick and
Oh,
made me deeply unhappy and gave me a big headache. And I was like, I don't think I can sit through another hour and a half of this, not even for my good close personal friend Chris.
what about the good bit listeners? Come on, Tiff.
Well, this is my message to the good bit listeners. Watch the first 5 minutes, and if you watch the first 5 minutes and you go, oh, well, then don't watch the next 30.
All right. So I'll reply to that with this. I watched the first 15 minutes of the film.
Please
And
tell me that you've bugged out as well.
no, 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 no. I actually crossed the finish line. I care about the listeners.
I knew you'd say something like that. I do feel a bit bad, but
No, no, no. Listen, I watched the first 15 minutes and I was like, oh, whoa. Like, we are about to be on a journey. This film is already a trip. This is the first 15 minutes. This is mental. I can't wait to see how it evolves from this. The problem was, there was no evolution whatsoever. It stayed like that for the whole film. And I kind of see what they were going for, trying to be rebellious and different and edgy because we're in the 90s. And the 90s and civilization was all about like fighting against the system, rage against the machine, all that stuff. That was the 90s was all about rebellion, not Star Wars. So that's kind of what they were going for. This is a 90s film, story by Tarantino. Woody what's his name? Woody Harrelson is the main, who looks weird anyway and is a weird actor. Let's be weird and let's do different things. Fine, but not for 2 hours. Because then, even when you're being different and when you're being weird, even that gets samey. And so you gave up after 48 minutes?
I'm sorry.
Okay. So the last scene, right, of the film is this big, like, so spoiler, they escape, the main two characters escape the prison that they're in, right? They get sent to the psychiatric ward in this prison, right? And it's this big plot. They use a TV show host, which is actually played by Robert Downey Jr., which was like, whoa, what the hell?
Yeah, he
With
was
an Australian accent.
Australian accent, yeah.
Which is interesting. And nice to see him doing something different, I must say. And it is mental. It is mental. People just dying left, right, and centre, but like violent deaths, limbs being chopped off, explosions of blood. And it's not really. It's weird because we talk about Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Bastards and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and these films, Django, Hateful Eight, these films by Tarantino that has a lot of that stuff in it. But the way he does it is that he builds up to these moments and they're placed quite expertly throughout the films to the point where it pops you and it shocks you. Whereas this was just like one after the other. Now it's a montage. Now there's lots of flashing lights. Then there's a death. Then there's sex. Then there's this. Then there's that. Then they're on the road. Then there's a dream sequence. And it was almost a bit too much of everything. And I was like, what am I watching here?
What I found is that it made it incredibly hard to understand what the hell was going on. And like,
my
there was
God,
so
absolutely.
little dialogue, and the dialogue seemed, I don't know, it was my telly, but it's normally all right. But the dialogue seemed fucking so quiet and in the background compared to the horrendously loud like music and flashing sound effects and audience noise.
The whole point is like to jolt you. You know, you're switching off a wee bit, and then oh my God, loud music. But it doesn't. That's not a good thing, I don't think.
Listen, I'm sure there are people out there who absolutely adore this film because it changed their view on cinema or
Right.
something like that. But me personally, I just thought it was kind of horrible. And like when they're doing the stuff about her dad like molesting her and like making that a weird sort of audience joke, like I'm all for, you know, pushing the boundaries and trying to shock people, but when there's
Getting a
no
message across or whatever, you know.
when there's no build up or payoff or reason for doing it, I just switch off and I go, I don't want to
The
watch
payoff
this.
was that the dad died, and that was the end of it.
Well, they killed, yeah, the dad died and they set the mum on fire. It's like,
Yeah, that was
very
it.
good. You're an arsehole. Everyone's an arsehole.
Violence. Let's do violence.
Violence breeds violence. I don't know. I found it, and I'm finding it extremely hard to extrapolate any sort of meaning, rhyme, or reason out of this film. Granted, you'll have watched more of it than me, but in the first 40 minutes, I was just like, I'm not here for this. I'm not here for this at all. I disagree with this entirely. I'm not going to say I'm offended by it because I'm not, but I was just like, oh, screw this. What? This is just horrible. This is a horrible experience. You know,
Yeah.
you can
Did-
watch
did you
horror
see-
films and, you know, sorry, they take you on a sort of like Blair Witch, you know, it's a horrible experience in one sense, but it was in a different sense a horrible experience because I did not feel good. I was not immersed in any type of story. And it was just like I was watching some horrible, weird modern art piece that you you go in a Tate Modern museum and you watch for 5 minutes and then you leave. No, 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 no.
Did you get like what they were going for? Because the point is to offend, I guess, and to disturb and things like that. That's kind of the point because, as I say, it's late 90s and it was all about that at the time. But there's like a way to do it that's like arty,
But
and
I
this
get,
just isn't it.
I
guess.
understood that obviously they wanted to offend and disturb, but what I didn't understand is why. Because
Right.
anyone with a camera and a electric guitar could do that and disturb you a bit. And why? What was the point? What There doesn't have to be a point to every movie, and I could probably analyze an amazing movie that I like that necessarily doesn't have a point.
Right.
But this in particular, I just thought, why? And why? Why
Yeah.
am I watching this?
Now,
Why am
what
I
I'll
being
say is
made
a
to
bit
watch this?
because I chose the film.
Because
Sorry.
not because you chose it, but also when I'm watching it, I'm like, what do you want me to think here? Because I hate this,
What you...
and I
Right.
don't. It's not cool. There's cool sequences in maybe something like Three Billboards where something horrific happens to someone, and then they cut away to a funny song, and that's kind of shocking. But it's done in such a artful, moving way that it moves
Yeah.
you and it shocks you in that way. Or a film like Filth, James
Or
McAvoy is
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo
All
Rabbit,
these deaths and stuff, and it goes
shocking
back to
and offensive.
Hitler, Taika Waititi. Yeah.
Offensive. But this, if it, I have to believe that it wasn't trying to do something like that, because it did not do it in a tactful or artful or interesting way to me at all. It was just
Yeah.
pure. What's the word? Pure
Filth.
pure
and,
filth, pure gore, pure horrificness, with no payoff and no build up and no rhyme or reason to it.
That's the problem. There was
yeah.
no payoff, and even if you did continue watching the thing, the payoff is they escape this prison. And again, I'll spoil the ending for you because I know Aaron's never going to go back and watch it. The two main characters, Woody Harrelson's character, which is Mickey Knox, and Juliette Lewis's character, Mallory Knox, Mickey and Mallory, and then Robert Downey Jr.'s character, which is Wayne Gale. And they make out of this riot that's in this prison, and the three of them are alive, and they start having this kind of moment. And I was, because I'd already had far too much of this film, and I was like, I am done with this film. But then there's a kind of moment where they're kind of talking in the woods, and it's almost like they'd become friends, and Mickey and Mallory had kind of grown a little bit. And it's going to be this nice walk off into the sunset. But no, they just kill Robert Downey Jr.'s character because everybody dies, everybody is a murderer, everybody's horrible, and that's just how you live life in America, apparently, in this time. And I was like, God, that's such a shame, because there could have been a point, there could have been a payoff, but the payoff is much of the same. I just watched a riot in a prison. This is 1994, by the way. I don't know why I had it in my head that it's 97, 94, so mid-90s. I just watched a prison riot, and I'd seen police officers being punched and kicked and hit in the face with the end of guns, getting their noses broken and their ears ripped off and stuff. And I was like, right, I've seen a lot of death and blood here. I'd like a nice payoff, But no, it's just more death, more blood and stuff, which is fine. Guess that's what they were going for. And as I was saying at the start of the analysis here, the review, like that first little bit, that opening sequence, I was like, here we go, this is going to be it. I liked and was enjoying the first 15 minutes. The scene, the opening credits, I was thinking to myself, what a difference it makes when there's like really great, different opening credits that they've put a lot of time into, and they really take... I mean, there's films that you go and see in the cinema and you're like, the title's finished and you're like, wow, like I can't wait to watch this now. And I was thinking that about this film, I was like, here we go, this is going to be Tarantino-esque. It came up saying, story by Quentin Tarantino, and I was like, oh, I understand now, it's a total Tarantino story. But then again, there's a Tarantino way of doing it, and then there's people who try to be like him, I guess, even though this was 94 and Tarantino still had a lot of work to do in terms of like proving his reputation and stuff, but it just didn't go anywhere from that opening. I really liked the opening. I just wanted that to be the opening and then move on to something else. And that first scene when Mickey first meets Mallory in the pub, I thought it was a great scene. I was like, I've never seen a scene like this before, and now I know there's a reason for that. And it just that was the peak of the film. It was the best part of the film. Goes downhill from there. My notes progress. It starts off. I've said story by Tarantino, best opening scene I've seen in ages. What a great title sequence. Mickey meets Mallory. Never seen a scene like that ever. I'm like talking highly about it, and then my notes just like trickle off. And I've written style just went on and on and on and on. Don't care about these characters.
Yeah.
Um,
Why would you? They're horrible.
yeah. Yeah, the whole vibe screams 1990s. I don't know what I was meaning by that is. Interesting to see Tommy Lee Jones doing something different, I must say. And then at the end I said it almost became a satire, and maybe that's the point. Loads of death, loads of riots, loads of gruesome things. And it's painting a picture of modern day America, maybe. But I didn't really want to see that.
I remember when I watched Dusk Till Dawn, which is another story by
I've not seen it.
Tarantino, directed by...
He's in it, isn't he?
He is in it. I
he's
think.
in like the poster, I think, isn't he?
Yes. Directed by Robert Rodriguez, I think. And, well, if you've not seen it, I won't say. But it now makes a bit of sense that I'm like, well, if Tarantino wrote it, then okay. And someone else directed it. Just that for some reason, that combination, Tarantino writing and directing his own films is one of my favorite cinema combinations,
Yep.
But when he writes it and someone else directs it, I don't know, something goes askew. Maybe it's when he's just left to sort of write and he's not going to follow through with it,
He is really stubborn, isn't he? Like, he wants it his way and this is the way it's going to be. And maybe when he's working with someone else, maybe that kind of gets hindered a little bit and
maybe
people might try to please him a bit more. I don't know. I'm assuming, because you quite like to look into these films and look at some backstory and stuff and watch some press release stuff. I'm assuming you haven't looked into this film at all.
No.
Because there is stuff online about how Tarantino's kind of like detached himself from this film and he didn't like it. And
you know what I mean? That is interesting.
Yeah. He's still credited, but he doesn't want anything to do with it.
That is he must feel the same way I do.
Yeah. Like, because they were going for that. Because, I mean, you look at all of Tarantino's films, that's the kind of vibe we're going for. Just maybe not that way.
Well, you think about his latest project, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, how sparing and tactful he was with his extreme offensive violence. He
slow build.
I think that film is the most sort of his most delicate work in terms of that. He just places it exactly where it needs to be, and it's a huge payoff, and it can totally works. And I can understand
comes at the right part of the film, and after all the work that the actors have done before that,
exactly,
you're ready for it.
And I almost feels ridiculous even comparing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to this film, because it just seems they're on complete. There might be gratuitous violence they have in common, but they're on complete opposite ends of the cinema spectrum, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
And also, I should say, interesting enough, that amazing sort of offensive juxtaposition moment that I referenced in Three Billboards involves Woody Harrelson, which is weird. It's the same actor doing another wonderful job. Listen, the actors were
good. Yeah, I'm sure.
From what I saw, it wasn't the actor's fault.
No. That's probably a really tough job to have as an actor doing that stuff, right?
And what's her name? Juliette
Lewis.
Juliette Lewis, another actor who I admire a lot. She is also brilliant in August Osage County. She's in that film, and I think she's stunning in that film.
She is also in From Dusk Till Dawn.
She is she? She must be a child in that film, because I think I remember her being... She's had a long career. I think she was a child actor. So she's been in a lot of stuff.
Well, Dusk Till Dawn came out after Nights of Born Killers, but
did it? Maybe she wasn't.
Child actor. She's been doing stuff since the late 80s. Yeah. So
yeah, she was a child.
She's in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Ah.
So he's one of the kids there. You're right, and Cape Fear as well.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
did. I've seen her in something as a child. She was pretty much a child in this, and horrible things happening.
Being getting touched up by her dad, and
That's
because that's what fathers do now, and you're like, what? Like, no.
you know
What are you trying to say here?
a storyline in a film about an abusive father doing horrific things to a daughter is not the problem. It's there's just complete no reason for it. When there's no reason for that, I say, why are you putting it in a film? Because it's horrific, and
Yeah, it's like almost
yeah,
these things are like happening to Mallory that kind of molds her into the person she is now.
I
So
suppose.
it's like having an abusive dad and stuff. However, she's already mental when he's abusing her.
Yeah, exactly.
You get what I
She's
mean?
far gone. You do not see the actual reason she's a psychopath. She just is one. And you can't tell me that the reason they put in, oh, her father is horrible, is because they wanted to have some sort of reason for her. No, they don't care. There's no reason for anything.
Yeah.
I did think Woody Harrelson. I've never seen him in a film with hair, and he looked goddamn cool with that sort of man bun thing.
I don't know if cool's the right word, but it definitely looked different.
Oh, the
Yeah,
shades and
because
the
you.
sort of pullback thing.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, this is not a Woody Harrelson film by any means. Like, you
No,
see
screw
Woody
that.
Harrelson, he's usually like the leader of a group or a cool police officer or you know what I mean? He's not this weird rebellious guy.
Li-
Like,
Listen, I haven't seen the rest of the film, but if I was Woody Harrelson, I'd do the same thing as Tarantino, and I'd say, I wasn't in that film. We won't talk about that. Kind of like,
he kind of shaves it off though, doesn't he? Like Woody Harrelson in this film, I guess didn't see, but he shaves it off and he's
what
got
did
the
he?
shades on and stuff. That's like the iconic look. But
Um,
yeah,
kind of like George Clooney does with his Batman movies. He's just like, oh God, no, no, no.
no, but he kind of laughs at them though,
He laughs at
like
them.
in a
Yeah,
good
this
way.
this isn't something to joke about for me. I think this is a horrific film. Who made it? Because well, they're not listening, are they? Doesn't matter.
I'll tell you who made it. It was made by Oliver Stone.
What the hell? What else has he made?
Oliver Stone has also made JFK. Well, he was a producer of JFK. What has he directed? He has directed. Let's see. This is interesting. Okay, he directed JFK, The Doors, Heaven and Earth, Nixon. Funnily enough, a political film. Platoon, The Hand, Wall Street, Born on the 4th of July. Nothing that just jumps off the page.
No.
Savages. That was a recent film that was quite good. He made Savages with Blake Lively and Taylor Kitsch.
Right.
Yeah. Nothing. I mean, this is probably his most famous film, Natural Born Killers.
Well, yeah, I don't think I'm an Oliver Stone guy.
No.
Who edited this?
I mean, listen, editing wise, it's quite good. Like
I
technique
suppose
wise.
they probably did what they were told.
Yeah. It's pretty difficult, you know.
Well, I don't know.
It's not for us, not our favourite type of film. We officially, I'm going to just assume here, we're officially putting our first film in the bin.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
I was afraid that you were hinting to grilling it, and I was like, no, yes, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, man. Like I could maybe make an argument for grilling, but like I feel strongly, and you feel strong enough for this to go in the bin.
I feel strong. Yeah, it's going to make our eventual sort of graphic look a bit more balanced.
A little more interesting, yeah.
We've got something in the bin. We haven't got anything in the fridge,
Freezer, yeah.
the freezer yet. Sorry. Maybe I'll aim for a freezer film in my next choice.
You know what also has lots of gratuitous violence, but it's not overdone, that is definitely not going into the bin? Game of Thrones, which I have started watching. Can you believe it?
Wow, that's a huge thing.
Yes, I finished season 1 today.
Oh,
Before work, I got up early this morning to get those tickets for Royal Blood, so I had an extra hour. So I'm going to watch Game of Thrones. And it's great. And what I was worried about, remember I told you when we did Inception, that people would always tell me, oh, it's not your thing, you're not smart enough for Inception. Same thing with Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is not your thing. It's too much to remember, too many big names. You're not going to get it.
you need to stop listening to these people who tell you these things.
I watched Inception, and now I'm watching Game of Thrones, and it's great. What I was worried about was not understanding the story. That's not the problem. The thing that's confusing is that there's so many different things happening at once, different families and different locations. Once you get your head around all that, you're in.
Are you in?
Oh yeah,
Nice.
absolutely.
Well, I got given I borrowed the box set when I first watched it. I remember I had the box set, the physical thing, and in that particular box set, they had some huge pull-out poster which had a map explaining all the houses and where they are,
and
and I sort of had that reference throughout the whole of season 1, which really helped me. I recommend if you're still going on
I'm
what
actually
that
all right, but like people have said that to me, and I think that's definitely something to look into for the future series. But also sometimes I start trying to think about things and remember things whilst I'm watching it, and I need to tell myself sometimes it's better to watch it first, ask questions later, let it play out. Let it play out. You'll find that you'll discover things. There's moments, come to Jesus moments when you're watching films, and you go, that's why that was there or
Yep,
whatever.
I get you.
That's going to happen in Game of Thrones and GOT.
And you like it. You're a fan.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
It's
stunning.
great. But I also I'm still like I'm also still discovering these things. Like, it's not a type of show that you go, I love these characters, because at some point they're probably going to die.
But that's awesome,
You
isn't
know
it?
what I mean? Yeah, you have
Anything
no
can
idea who's going to
happen.
die.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. The one thing I'd been told about this film is like, just when you think the main character's safe, they die. And I was like, okay, well, they're not going to kill off this person. And then this morning they just did. So, yeah, it's a ride. It's a roller coaster you go on.
I'm jealous of you. It was one of my favorite series of all time.
You watch it all the way through, yeah?
I joined it. I binge watched the first 4 seasons and joined it in season 4 or 5, I think. And
Oh,
from
so you
season
you had to
5,
do the whole.
I waited every week, and we got it. I think me and my schoolmates. It was like an evolution because I started watching it when I was at school, and so me and my schoolmates would meet up every whatever day it was at their house, and we'd have a gang of friends all together watching it. And then eventually, I moved down to London, and then all me and my London mates we get together and watch it. Who all watched it.
Nice.
Really amazing experience.
You had to wait week by week like this.
That was some of the most frustrating and a huge payoff television watching I've ever done.
And I'm only on season 1 where there's not that many cliffhangers. I assume it gets more cliffhangery. Oh, I'm excited, but we have to go for dinner now because we've left it late. But there's nothing really much else to say about Natural Born Killers other than it's going in the bin. I'm glad we watched it though. I'm glad we watched it.
Sorry, Chris. I mean, of course I could have watched the whole thing, but honestly, right. I was like, I don't want to watch this.
Well, it's your choice for next week, so
yeah, I'll have a think about who would be good to see what, and I'll think about that.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Hopefully, we didn't offend you if Natural Born Killers is your favourite film, but if that's the case, what the fuck is wrong with you? Okay, guys, thanks very much for listening. Make sure you follow us on the socials. Twitter and Instagram is @TheGoodBitPod, and we're on YouTube on my personal YouTube channel, which is CM42TV. So until next week, or next time, tune in then for another episode of The Good Bit Pal.
Citizens